Y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jamila and this is Jamila Creates, where we make beautiful things. So for today I'm just going to be making a cargo pant skirt, like in the little bubble below of me with space buns. Out of this pair of cargo pants, I'm gonna have to do a lot of seam ripping. That was me showing you seam ripping on the crotch. I'm gonna have to seam rip I'm gonna cut the inseams, but I'm gonna seam rip most everything to create this skirt look. So let's get to it. If you're in an army, no more standing in our own way. Alright, so I seam ripped the front two and the little gusset in the middle off camera, and this is what it's like when I put on the mannequin and pin it. Now I'm going to go sew it. I sewed it wrong side to wrong side, and now I'm showing you just how when I sewed it there was still that placement of the crotch, so I went straight and kind of eliminated the crotch there. And now what I'm going to do is take one side and trim it so that I can fold the other side over it to make a faux flat felt seam. And I'm doing this on both the front and the back. And after I fold it, of course, I'm just going to pin it with the longer folded side over the shorter side, and then I'm going to top stitch all of that down. So my pants had this little extra pocket inside, and my sewing machine couldn't get through it, so sadly I had to do a little trimming there, making the pocket completely unfunctional. I just had to cut that off. Here's a slower close-up of the faux flat felt technique that I did. I just want to be very clear what I did and how I did it, and how the folding is. So here you go. By the way, I sewed it and then I ironed it. If you're gonna iron it before you sew, doing it like this, then you really need to be using metal pins and not the ones with the plastic tips, because those will melt, but I recommend just waiting to iron it until after you sew it down. So I sewed this, top stitched one of them, top stitched them on both sides really, but one of them already had a stitch that I just went over because I want it to be as strong as possible. It does have a little dip, I couldn't avoid that, but the crotch is still a problem for me because there's just so much room there, it's so baggy, but I think I'm going to leave that until maybe a future project where I do something. For now, yeah, I have the front and back. So this is what it looks like from the back. This is what it looks like from the front. And now I'm just going to close this up how it was before. So I figured out a solution to my crotch problem. That sounded bad. Don't take that out of context. I figured out a solution for the skirt crotch not fitting, and that is to just adjust the darts that came with. I'm just pinning them with a little bit more space between them, adding some fabric, some excess fabric to them, and then while it's still on the mannequin, I'm going to hand sew it, which I don't like to do, but that seemed like the easiest way. I'm going to hand sew it in a couple of places just to tack it down. Alright, here I'm making 4 rectangles. The height I chose it myself, and the width turned out to be a little bit small. I would recommend you making them a little bit bigger than I did, but I just kind of eyeballed it. I used the fabric that I had from the pocket lining that I took apart, so I was kind of limited as to how much fabric I had, but yeah, I just cut 4 strips of these size, and then I ironed the sides inward so that I would be top stitching, there'd be a seam there. Next, what I did is I measured how far from the center back and front on each side I wanted these to be, and I just pinned them down with the folded edge on top, and then I'm just going to sew them down as close to the edge as possible, and I'm also going to make a stitch in the very center of them, so that I'll be creating 2 channels to put fabric through. Again, if I could have, I would have made these a little bit less thin, because it was actually pretty difficult to thread through the what I used for a drawstring, but it all worked out. So we are on to the last step here, which is I found this string in my fabric stash, and I just kind of loosely measured how much would go over each, or go through each channel lengthwise. When you're cutting the channels out, as I showed you, if you want to use a different fabric or something, to make it a little bit thicker, what I would do is measure how thick the string you're using is, and then multiply that by 2. But anyway, I just did the tried and true safety pin method, and you're seeing me struggle with this. What I ended up doing is I had to unpick some of the seams to get the thing through, and then thread them, and then unthread them, but we're done. So I didn't end up styling it this way because I wanted to go for more of an e-girl vibe, and I would have needed some more Y2K stuff to make this work, but also because I have yeah, I had the idea of my final outfit that I'll show y'all in the reveal, and this is a little high-waisted, but if you make this low-waisted, like if you find cargo pants that are a little lower waist that you want to play with, or maybe you just chop it off at the crotch like what I maybe should have done to get rid of that gaping for, let's say, a well-endowed man that could have bought the cargo pants before. Having like a cute fitted cami like this, like my zebra print cami, would have been cute as well with some different shoes. Yeah, so whenever you make things like this, I usually have an idea in my head about what I want to do, but have fun styling it, really, because it's up to you. And of course, this wouldn't be complete without a waist chain or some kind of chain. I used a necklace. I just used a little O-ring to kind of clamp it onto this in the back and snapped it on here. So you will see that in just a second. Anyway, thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe, stay up to date, that kind of thing. And until next time, happy sewing!